Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office, appearing on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department appears today by through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Garrett Hillo and Supervisor Karamda Slay, present and ready to proceed.
Lindsay Murray on behalf of the child, present and ready.
Okay, tell me about Angel. Where is Angel currently placed?
Yes, Your Honor. Angel's currently at the High Plains Children's Emergency Shelter in Amarillo Canyon. He was placed there right after removal, and he's doing okay. His biggest struggles right now are school. He tends to try to elope. He has outbursts that are a bit extreme, and so he often spends a lot of his time in what's called the blue room. It's kind of an isolation room for him. He's a really sweet kid. I think he's got lots of trauma from things that we don't really even, the things that we know and the things that we don't know. And so that's kind of causing him to act out. He's never really had a ton of stability in his life. He'll tell you things like, my dad doesn't want me, or you're mad at me, and all this stuff. And so he kind of knows what's going on. And I feel like that's kind of the reason for him acting out. So he's been doing play therapy for 30 minutes every other week. And so we've been thinking about trying to get him into more therapy. He does really well in his home, home there at the shelter, plays with other kids, is really sweet. He loves like one-on-one attention. That's kind of when he does his best work. And so I think that's kind of what the school's been trying to provide for him. Obviously, the school's stretched thin and the shelter's stretched thin, so that's kind of hard to have the resources for. But that's where he's currently at. And we actually approved a home study on the aunt with some concerns. So we're working to alleviate those concerns so that we can get Angel moved there, hopefully by Christmas.
Okay, and that is Mrs. Camacho?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, where does she live?
She's here in Lubbock.
All right. Ms. Murray, any additional concerns regarding Angel?
Nothing additional at this time. I do want to, I appreciate the hard work that Karanda's done and that St. Francis is doing. This little boy doesn't have a lot of family, and I really appreciate them working with this placement to try to get this approved so we can get him with somebody that he's familiar with and that that's family. So just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. If we need a placement hearing, if something falls through with that home study, Ms. Murray, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. Have we located the parents?
No, Your Honor.
Have we personally served the parents?
Your Honor, we have only issued publication, and that was both on November the 17th. Nobody's been served that I'm aware of personally. I don't think we know where they are.
Mr. Killo, what is on their plan of service?
Yes, Your Honor. So the main thing we have on their plan of service right now,
I think it's somebody in the other room.
sorry. Getting lots of feedback. Can you mute you? Are you able to mute Miss Slay, Your Honor? Oh, there it goes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was getting tons of feedback. The main thing we have on their plan of service right now is to get contact, make themselves known to the department, maintain that contact throughout the life of the case. For the mother, we're also looking at some things we're looking at, having her do tests and assessments whenever she does make contact so that we know where she is needing services. We're looking for her to obtain and maintain stable housing and legal income and maintain that throughout the life of the case. We're also wanting her to submit to random drug testing, as well as like those drug testing assessment or the drug and alcohol assessments, like when she does make contact. And then for Mr. Reyes, the same thing. We're looking at him making contact and maintaining contact, as well as submitting to testing and assessments, obtaining and maintaining stable housing, legal income, making sure he's going to visits with Angel, making sure he's participating in parenting classes, individual therapy, those assessments, like the psychological assessment and the OSAR assessment, and then individual counseling. I can't remember if I had said that as well.
Okay, I'll approve the plan of service for both parents. And I'm assuming since we don't have contact with them, they are not visiting the child.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Anything else that we need to take up on Angel?
I don't think so on behalf of the department, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to set this for an initial permanency hearing April the 23rd at 2.
Gary Mitchell on behalf of the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office, on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department also appears by and through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Amanda Faulkner and Supervisor Amanda Roberts, and the present ready to proceed.
Leanne Fouts for the mother, Miss Williamson. She's incarcerated in Midland County, so I'm here on her behalf.
Cynthia Terso for both fathers, Mr. Lilly and Mr. Lights, present and ready. Also in the Zoom courtroom is Miss Hargrove. She is the girlfriend of Mr. Demeritus. And then I do also see Mr. Richardson, paternal uncle from one of the children for Jaden.
And I also think we have an aunt present in the courtroom watching. Okay.
I believe that might be Miss Pratt, paternal great-grandmother.
Grandmother, okay. All right, Mr. Mitchell, tell me the status of service on Mr. Lights.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, on who? I can tell you all three. I didn't quite hear you, but we have personal service on Mother, 2/6/23. Damian Lilly, personal service December the 7th. And Demetrius Lights was 11/14.
Okay, very good. Tell me about the children. Where are they placed and how are they doing?
Jaden is in a foster home in Canyon, Texas. He is doing well. He's in kindergarten. He needed dental surgery, extensive dental surgery, which was originally scheduled for the end of the month. They were able to move it up to last week. So he is doing much better, being able to eat food and not be in pain. He's been having a great time. He celebrated his birthday. They had a really big superhero birthday party for him. He really enjoyed. And yeah, so he's doing well. Kinsley and Kaylee are here in a Lubbock foster home. They're also doing well. Kinsley is working on potty training. And I believe they're starting with Kaylee as well. Both of them are up to date on medical. Kinsley is going to need some dental cavities. She's got a couple dental cavities that they're going to follow up in January and get those dealt with.
Okay, other than the dental issues, do we have any medical concerns with any of the children?
No. Jaden does have asthma as needed. He has an inhaler for asthma, but it's only as needed, and he hasn't needed to use it.
All right. And tell me about Jaden in school. Did you say he is on target? Does he do well in school?
He does pretty well. He's very smart. He absorbs everything and can tell you everything. He loves to read, and he loves to climb. He loves recess and to climb everything. They've had a little bit of problem with some language, but he's been doing really well with it with the teachers. They were telling me that the other day he went to actually say a word and he put his hand over his mouth really quick and said, "Oh, I can't say that." And so he's doing much better with that.
Okay. What do the kids like to do for fun?
He loves to climb and jump on everything. He also loves to color. He loves to play with his cars. He got a really cool racetrack for his birthday. So he's been doing playing with a lot of that. He loved to show me. I went and saw him last night and he was showing me all that. Kinsley is a fashionista. She loves fashion and she loves to show you all her boots and her clothes, and she likes things to be very particular and matching. I saw her yesterday morning and she was in these cute bell-bottom jeans and she was showing me how they looked and kind of, I don't know, moved, and she was very excited about them. She also likes to play with her dolls and babies. And Kaylee pretty much likes to follow everything her sister is doing, including the fashion. She also is very big on fashion, and she loves fruit. She loves to eat all fruit.
Okay. All right, very good. Tell me the status of the home studies. I have ordered one on Mr. Richardson, who is the brother of Mr. Lights. What is the status of that home study?
Yes, I believe he's had his home visit on 12/16, and we're just waiting for it to come back.
Okay, and what about the maternal grandmother?
Maternal grandmother, that was, we got that back yesterday, and the supervisor has it. And is reviewing it. And then Demetria Lilly, who is paternal aunt of Damien, we're waiting for that to come back. But she was seen, her home visit was yesterday.
Okay, so we got a lot of placement options that we're looking at. I would just ask St. Francis to get all of those home studies distributed to all the attorneys in the case. And y'all might have a meeting ahead of time about placement and see if we can come to some agreements on that. If not, let me know if I need to put this on a placement hearing docket.
And I would just ask, because my client's in Midland County Jail, I have pretty good luck trying to talk to her, but I need a little advance notice. So I don't want any placement till we can have that meeting.
Okay.
And I can talk to her.
I will order that we maintain the current placements until we either have an agreement among all the parties about placement changes or hearing. All right. Mr. Shaw, any concerns regarding the children?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Terso, any concerns on behalf of the fathers regarding the children?
No, Your Honor, not at this point. Unfortunately, we have not been able to talk to Mr. Lights as much as we'd like. It's been very difficult to get in touch with him through where he is incarcerated currently. So we've been relying heavily upon Ms. Hargrove to help assist with that communication.
Okay, sometimes I can do an order to help you with that. Sometimes they don't pay any attention to my orders. It just depends on which facility you get and what day, probably. So if I can help, let me know if I can do an order.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
You bet. All right. Is there anything else that anyone has to say about the children?
No, ma'am.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Tell me about Ms. Williamson's plan of service.
Your Honor, we are asking that Ms. Williamson participate in all services outlined in her plan, maintain stable housing and employment, participate in services and classes offered while she's incarcerated, participate in supervised visit, 12 hours of parenting classes, have a psychological evaluation and follow all recommendations, participate in individual therapy and follow all recommendations, to participate in an OZAR assessment, to participate in random drug screens, to enter a substance abuse treatment program, and to participate in AA/NA classes and obtain a sponsor and refrain from a criminal lifestyle.
Ms. Fouts?
Well, obviously we can't do any of those until and unless she's released. In my review of the plan of service, I thought it was conditioned on what was available to her in jail, as far as parenting and things of that nature, and obviously maintaining housing, all of those. I don't have any problem with the things on her plan. I just want to make it clear that she can't do any of them until she gets out.
Certainly. I will approve that plan, and I certainly understand the issue there. Ms. Faust, do we have any idea as to the status of her criminal charges?
No, not yet.
Is she awaiting trial, or is she?
It's a probation revocation.
Oh, okay. All right. Tell me about Mr. Lilly and Mr. Lights, their plans of service. It's my understanding, based on what we talked about at the adversary hearing, that Mr. Lilly is basically a non-offending parent in the case, but has some medical concerns. What are we asking of Mr. Lilly?
Yes, so we're asking that he maintain stable housing and participate in supervised visits and do 12 hours of parenting and demonstrate what he's learned in the parenting classes. To obtain an in-home healthcare provider to help him in his day-to-day life, complete a psychological, participate in individual therapy, and participate in anger management.
And what about Mr. Lights?
For Mr. Lights, we are asking that he establish paternity, maintain contact with me, maintain stable housing and employment, and refrain from a criminal lifestyle.
All right, Ms. Terso, any issues with either one of those plans of service?
I don't, Judge, but the woman in the courtroom is raising her hand, so I think she might have some commentary to add on that.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Desi's being offered a plea deal, and they're signing the papers tomorrow. She's going to do 6 months, but they give her 80% for good behavior. She should be getting out in March.
That's great. That's good news to have. Thank you.
I talked to her lawyer this morning.
Very good. Thank you for that information, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Faulkner, tell me about our communication with Mr. Lilly. Is he participating in these services?
He is. We have visitation once a week right now for 2 hours on Monday mornings from 8:30 to 10:30 at the Buckner Visitation. We are trying to work with Miss Pratt, who is his caregiver, and his grandmother, to get somebody who can supervise during church because she would like to have the girls on Sundays. So we were trying to make that happen.
Okay. Great.
In addition to the Monday visit.
All right. And Mr. Lights, are you aware of any sort of services that are available to him where he is incarcerated?
I've been looking into that and trying to get information. I haven't had much communication with them yet.
Okay, let's at least send him some parenting packets and whatever other packets we might have that might help him where he is.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to take up? All right, we will have an initial permanency hearing April the 23rd at 2.
Judge, I think great grandma was raising her hand again.
I
Okay,
was
go
wondering if they might place the kid before Christmas, or it's going to be after Christmas.
I'm not sure about that. The home studies are back and they need to be reading them and they need to be distributing to the lawyers, and hopefully all the lawyers can get together and have a meeting about it and come to an agreement on that.
Okay.
If they don't, we'll have a hearing in front of me and I'll make a ruling on it.
Okay. Because Selena's in Houston and she's coming for Christmas.
Okay. All right. Ms. Hargrove, you want to unmute yourself?
I just wanted to say that Demetrius can take parenting classes, and he has taken them I don't know recently, but he sent me certificates of those parenting classes once before. So I know he can take classes where he's at.
Fantastic. Okay. Okay. If I don't see y'all have a Merry Christmas. We'll see y'all back in my court on April 23rd at 2.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
Thank
y'all. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you.
Parties identified?
Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office, appearing on the Department of Family and Protective Services. The department appears also through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Brianna Branch, and with Supervisor Karanda Slay present and ready to proceed.
Okay, tell me about Gabriel. Oh, Mr. Craig Johnson.
Yeah, Craig Johnson, attorney ad litem for the child present ready.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, tell me about Gabriel. Where is Gabriel currently placed?
Gabriel is placed in a foster home in Levelland, Texas, with Mr. and Mrs. Kemp. Gabriel's currently doing very well. He makes eye contact, he engages in toys. He is being seen by ECI right now, and they're still evaluating him to see if he'll need additional services. But he is developmentally, he does appear on target. And he is doing well. We are still searching for additional family members to see if it's possibility to place with for him.
Okay. Gabriel has a sibling that is in placement Did we try a home study on that placement?
Yes, Your Honor, we actually completed the home placement, but before we were to place Gabriel, the Salazars were not able to take him in at that time.
At that time, are they thinking
Or-
about it?
Actually not right now. They're not thinking about it with the amount of children in their home already.
Okay. What other relatives do we think might be a possibility?
I have talked to an aunt of Miss Guerra's, and she has told me she was thinking about it. I'm going to make additional contact back with her. And her husband had a family member that possibly might be interested.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. Johnston, any concerns with Gabriel?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Morrow, any concerns on behalf of Mr. Holland?
Been communicated to me, Your Honor.
Okay. Tell me about parents' progress and services.
Miss Gutierrez has not contacted permanency specialist Brianna Branch or participated in any services. Miss Gutierrez has not contacted or the department. She has not participated in providing proof of income, providing proof of residency, providing proof of parenting classes. She has not participated with STAR care or mental health assessment. She has not participated with a psychological evaluation, and she has not participated in parent-child visits.
Okay, and what about Mr. Holland?
Mr. Holland has not made contact with the department or responded to efforts to reach him. Mr. Holland has not participated in any services as well. And once Mr. Holland does make contact with the department, we will establish a paternity test for Gabriel and a more comprehensive family plan of service.
All right, Mr. Morrow, anything to add on behalf of Mr. Holland?
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm going to set this for another permanency hearing and a final hearing, April the 11th at 9. The current foster home, is it a legal risk home if we need it to be, or do we need to be looking for a legal risk home in case these relatives don't pan out?
They are not a legal risk home, but the Boys and Girls Club has said they have some available once we hit the 6-month mark and flip our permanency goals, which should be January 4th or 5th.
Okay, well, let's certainly reach out to these relatives and follow up with them and determine whether or not they're interested and make sure they understand that we want to get Gabriel placed in a permanent home as soon as we can.
Yes, ma'am.
But we want to do that with a relative if possible.
Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department appears also bind through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Samantha Lopez and Supervisor Amanda Roberts. They're present and ready to proceed.
Jim Shaw representing the mother.
Craig Johnston representing the father, present, ready, Your Honor.
Sarah Hudman representing the child, present, ready.
All right, tell me about Ollie. With the
Your
aunt.
Honor, he is with aunt. He has been placed with aunt since 8/11/2023. We are currently on a reunification calendar with Stephen Hunter that started on 12/15/2023. And Ollie's doing great. He's up to date on medical and dental. He's healthy, 5-month-old baby. He's just the cutest little thing right now. I went to go see him this week, and he has just grown into his features, and he looks just like his dad. So I'm super excited for Ollie.
All right, very good. All that sounds very good. Ms. Hudman, any concerns with Ollie?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Hunter, can you unmute yourself for me? While you're trying to do that, in the Galaxy Tab e-box, that person's not signed into the audio. Mr. Shaw, any concerns on behalf of Ms. Sims?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, there we go. Mr. Hunter, do you have any concerns regarding Ollie?
No, I'm just ready for him.
I bet. Okay, is that Ms. Sims in the Galaxy box?
That's placement. That's Ollie with his
Got
aunt.
Okay. Mr. Johnston, actually, Mr. Shaw, are you aware of any concerns on behalf of Ms. Sims?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Shaw, do we need a placement hearing if we place back with Mr. Hunter, or is your client going to be in agreement with that?
I have not heard any objection, Your Honor, but I do not have a current phone number for her.
Ms. Lopez, do you have a current phone number for Ms. Sims?
He has not responded to me in quite some time. I can send him the number I do have. But the last time I have spoke to Miss Sims was in October. But I can send him the number I do have. I'm sorry. When I did speak with her in October, I did discuss with her about Ollie being, reunified with Dad and what that looked like. And Miss Sims was okay with that at that time.
Okay. Tell me about the progress that she's made in services. I know you said you haven't talked to her since October, but are there any services that Ms. Sims has completed?
She was doing drug tests up until October. That was the last one she did. I did get her initiated into counseling with Dr. Gatlin. She missed 3 of the first appointments, so he dropped her. I got her set up with another counseling through Choices, and I don't believe she's reached out to them. She didn't do her OSAR assessment. She hasn't done her psychological. As far as home and employment, those weren't stable the last time I talked to her. So there hasn't been any services that I can say she has completed.
All right, Mr. Shaw, anything to add?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and it sounds like Mr. Hunter is fully participating in his services, and we're looking to reunify with him at this point?
Yes, Your Honor. He has participated from the very beginning, even before we had paternity results. He initiated services with Dr. Gatlin. He finished parenting. I got a report back from parenting that he had perfect attendance and that he was participating in all of the classes. He did his OSAR assessment. He's just been doing what we'd like parents to do. So I'm super excited for him.
And he's testing clean.
And he's testing clean. Yes. He's gone every month. No issues. Never reschedules. He goes when I tell him to go, and I don't ever have worries with him.
Beautiful. Mr. Johnston, it sounds like you have a model client.
Yeah, Mr. Hunter's been on it since day one in this case, and just super happy for him.
All right. When is the proposed placement date in this calendar that we have going?
So right now we started on the 15th for unsupervised. We'll have 3 more unsupervised this month or this next week. And then starting the 24th and 25th, we want to do overnights those nights, and then move him permanently back with Stephen on the 26th to start the reunification with him.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys are going to have a good Christmas. All right. Very good. Anything else on Ollie?
No, ma'am. I did have his aunt to get on. I know we haven't seen him, and I was like, it'd be nice for the courts to see Ollie. I don't know if Tasha can put him on the phone, but he's so adorable.
I always like to see cute babies. Hey. All right. Looks like he's doing well. And a big old smile on Mr. Hunter's face, so that is a good sign. Okay, I will set this for another permanency and final hearing April the 11th at 9. However, I would say, Mr. Shaw, if you're able to get a hold of Ms. Sims, and maybe you guys can negotiate a final order between these parents, something that the department could live with, I'm happy to move that final hearing up if we need to. If we can, I should say. Okay, permanency and final April the 11th at 9. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Good job, Mr. Hunter.
Sarah Hudman, attorney for children.
Craig Johnson, attorney for Mr. Carrasco, present ready.
Jana Clift-Williams, I'm the attorney for Delia Terrasas, the respondent mother. We're present and ready.
Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office. Excuse me. On behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, the department appears to be St. Francis Ministries caseworker, Brianna Branch, and Supervisor Karanda Slay present, ready to proceed.
Okay, tell me about these children. Where are they currently placed?
Zitlali and Zamara are currently placed in a foster home in Lubbock, Texas. We do have a pending ICPC still for New Mexico. They are doing very well. Zitlali is, and forgive me for my pronunciation, but she is doing well in school and she's thriving with her peers, her teachers. She did recently get an exam, an eye exam where she possibly might need glasses. And she also has been recommended for speech at school. And she also really enjoys going to church and singing songs. Zamara is doing really well as well. She's hitting most of her developmental milestones. She is struggling with pulling herself up, so she has been recommended ECI just to help her stand up. But other than that, she is thriving and doing good as well.
Okay, I think I saw in the report that we had some cavities filled with Zali. Other than that issue and the needing glasses, are there any sort of medical concerns with her?
No, but there is, she did have some disruption in counseling. She attends counseling about a month back where she was having some issues with bedwetting and using stuffed animals to act out what appeared to be acts. But that has been addressed in counseling. We actually had a meeting with her mom and talked about it, and she's doing a lot better where she's not wetting herself or having any more incidents like that. Her therapist has not reported any other issues that she has seen in therapy as well.
What kind of therapy does she get?
She gets just, it's play therapy.
Okay. All right, and other than that grandmother in New Mexico, do we have any relative placement options?
Nope. No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Hudman, any additional concerns regarding the children?
No, not beyond what's already been brought up, but I was happy that it was addressed.
All right, Mr. Rosas, do you have any additional concerns regarding the children?
No.
Mr. Johnston, any concerns on behalf of your clients?
No, Your Honor.
All right, tell me how Mr. Rosas is doing in services.
Mr. Rosas says she has maintained contact with me, her worker. She currently has moved to Austin, Texas. So I have not received new proof of permanency, but she did notify me of her moving. She had been evicted from her apartment here in Lubbock on October 1st, and she moved approximately November 6th. And Ms. Ross has not provided proof of employment, but has reported having a job. Ms. Ross has completed parenting classes. Ms. Ross has completed her psychological evaluation. Ms. Ross has not completed a mental health assessment with Star Care, but she had set it up prior to the move. Ms. Ross had engaged in counseling with Holly Waddell. She attended a session and she had engaged in their weekly women's group, but since the move, she has not been able to participate in that. Mr. Ross has continued to test negative on her drug testing. Mr. Ross has engaged in one AA and NA class and provided proof to permanency to me. Mr. Ross has participated in other assessments, and Mr. Ross has attended all of her parent-child visits. And Mr. Ross is also
virtual visits?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Mr. Ross also just gave birth to a baby in Austin, Texas.
She had that baby placed with her?
He is currently still in the hospital. He was born, I believe, 2 months premature. And so, but she does maintain visits with him in the hospital daily. There is an open investigation that she has been cooperating with in Austin.
Yeah, I have a caseworker here in Austin.
Okay. All right, Ms. Cliff-Williams, anything to add on behalf of your client regarding services?
Yes, Your Honor, I would like to know if the department has a courtesy worker in Austin for my client, and also if her services could be completed there in Austin.
We can get a courtesy worker, and yes, ma'am, she can complete all her services in Austin.
I was supposed to get a courtesy worker whenever I moved, but I don't know if it went through yet or not. I've been waiting.
She moved in November and she doesn't have a courtesy worker yet?
Not
Why
sure.
not? What is the delay?
At first, she had provided me a partial address. She did provide me the other address. I have kept in contact with the investigator in Austin, and she has done face-to-face visits. And I have talked about her setting up services in Austin with her worker.
I want a worker assigned this week.
No, it was assigned December 10th. The delay in November was she'd given me a partial address and I didn't have the apartment number to actually put in the original request.
So you're telling me she does have a courtesy worker now?
She doesn't currently have a courtesy worker. She has an additional caseworker down there.
I want a courtesy worker assigned for her on this case to help her set up these services this week.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Rosas, tell me your plan when you're discharged.
I'm discharged, just not the baby. I've been discharged.
Where are you living?
I live in an apartment. The caseworker went to do the house visit for baby boy. So everything is fine right there. The job I can't work until 6 weeks after birth. So I'm waiting on that. But I still have my job at Whataburger, and I forgot to provide proof of income to her. But I got 2 check stuff that I could send to her. With me being in the hospital, I was in the hospital for like a week and 2 days, so I wasn't able to provide anything whenever I did get my check. And I've been busy with baby boy since he's still NICU. So I've been here with him every day. Like right now, I'm at the hospital. I'm just in the cafeteria.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, I would just ask my client to take a picture of those paycheck stubs with their phone and send them to Brianna, her caseworker here.
Okay, I'll send them.
Please let me know if you don't get a name of the new courtesy worker this week.
I will do that, Your Honor.
And when would they be placed with when would they be placed with my mom?
That home study is still pending. I'm not authorized to make that placement until we have that home study back. It would be against the law for this court to do that. So we will have to wait on that home study, and it's going to take a minute because it's out of state.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I would just ask the department if they have any updates on that home study, if they've heard from the state of New Mexico on that.
There's been no updates. It has been sent, but there hasn't been any communication back. I personally checked last week with the ICPC coordinator to make sure that everything was still on track. So it has been sent, it's processed. We're just still waiting to hear.
And from my experience, and I would just let my client know this, if her mother would reach out to the department in New Mexico about that ICPC home study, it might move things along very quickly.
She calls her caseworker because she has a caseworker because she got custody of my niece, and she calls them every day. They said that they haven't received anything. So she's been in contact with Brianna also. She goes into the office every day and everything.
And the reason why she's not hearing anything from that caseworker, because this is a totally different worker. It's a state worker that will come out from the state of Texas that does the ICPCs, and they will contact the department over there and let them know. And then they'll send a worker that will process that ICPC home study. So it's a little different process.
Okay, so we've been waiting since the first court hearing, which was like 6 months ago.
Okay, tell me about the father's progress and services. Let's start with Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Gonzalez has made contact with the Mexican consulate in Mexico, and they have reached out to us. We are in the talks of trying to produce a paternity test for Mr. Gonzalez while he's in Mexico. He had tried to come to the United States, but was denied. So we're talking with the consulate to see if we can get him a paternity test for Mexico to establish. And then as of this day, we have not been able to access his home due to him living in Mexico. He has not been able to participate in assessments, but he has been in contact with the consulate.
Okay. Are we aware of any concerns with Mr. Gonzalez?
Not at this. I am not aware of any concerns of Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay. So as far as we're aware, it's just a matter of Mr. Gonzalez being able to get here and pick up his child if that's his wish and things work out with the whole case.
And Your Honor, I believe there were some allegations of domestic violence by that father, so we would have some objections to him picking up any of his child.
Okay. Maybe Miss Cliff Williams get that information to St. Francis because they just told me they didn't have any concerns.
I'll do that.
Okay.
It's in the original affidavit.
Yes, Your Honor, it's in the original affidavit.
All right, Mr. Johnson, anything on behalf of Mr. Gonzalez?
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
All right, tell me about Mr. Carrasco's plan and how he's doing in services.
Mr. Carrasco has been provided some family packets and he has met with the courtesy worker. I believe some of the family packets were sent back, but I'll be in contact with his courtesy worker to see if I can email him so that she can print them off and provide him his court report and all of that. But she has talked to him about the parenting packets. He has agreed to do them and met with her and talked with his courtesy worker.
Mr. Johnson, anything on behalf of Mr. Carrasco?
Just want to make sure, I guess I assume those parenting packets are in Spanish because with Mr. Carrasco, he doesn't speak any English at all. And so I just want to and I assume the courtesy worker is able to speak Spanish as well.
There is a translator in the prison that has been assisting our courtesy worker in her face-to-face visits.
What about the parenting packet?
The parenting packet was in Spanish. It just got sent back to me in the mail a couple of times. So I'm going to print it out for him or send it to the courtesy worker through email so she can print it out and bring it to him to make sure he receives these items.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, any idea on how long Mr. Carrasco will be incarcerated?
Yeah, a good another 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
All
right, I'm going to set this for another permanency and final hearing, April the 11th at 9. Right, anything else?
Judge, I apologize. I had to get up to close my door. Can you tell me that date again?
Sure, April the 11th at 9.
Okay.
And Your Honor, that's a permanency and a final trial?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll be adjourned. Thank you all.
Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office, appearing on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department is also appearing by and through St. Francis Ministries caseworker, excuse me, Margaret Allen and Supervisor Rhonda Slay. They're present and ready to proceed.
Lindsay Murray on behalf of Lauren Randall, who's also present. We're present and ready.
Jim Shaw representing the father.
Leanne Fouts, attorney and guardian ad litem, present ready.
Okay, Miss Allen, tell me about the children. Where are they currently placed?
All the children are placed in the Lubbock County. They are placed in 2 separate foster homes here in Lubbock. Lucas and Caden are in the same foster home, and then Delilah and Dakota are in the same foster home.
Okay, how are they doing?
Overall, they're doing well. Lucas and Caden do have some age-appropriate behaviors. They do have a little bit of anger issues with one another, and they do fight. They both are in therapy right now, and so that's helping with that. Lucas enjoys playing with Legos. He likes watching cartoons. Both boys have their dental tomorrow. And then Caden is 4, but he will be 5 tomorrow. And so he loves Paw Patrol, and his favorite color is orange, and he is, well, I guess they're all kind of silly, but he's got a really great sense of humor. So, but overall, they're doing well. Lucas is doing well in school. Again, some behaviors, but nothing out of the ordinary that aren't age appropriate, just not listening, not wanting to follow directions at times. Delilah is doing well. She is 3. She does have behaviors at daycare where she has been aggressive towards teachers and children at the daycare, but that has improved. We have actually requested a level of care for Delilah because of these behaviors, because the foster home did need some more assistance at times, but we haven't received that level of care back. Delilah overall usually is happy. She loves unicorns and anything princess and pink, and she's also in play therapy right now. Dakota is 1. She is kind of does her own little thing when she's with her siblings. She is starting to talk a whole lot more. She knows baby sign language. She's very happy. Her favorite activity is to eat. She's always eating when I see her, and she loves Cheetos. She always has 2 Cheetos in her hands whenever her mom's brings her food to her visits.
Okay. Do we have any medical concerns with any of the children?
No, we do not.
Are any of them on any medications?
Caden is on medication, but it's allergy medication as needed. But none of them are any type of psychotropic medication.
Okay, good. Tell me about Lucas in school. Is he doing okay in school? What grade is he in?
Yeah, he's in the 2nd grade, and he's doing well. His grades, he does well in school, and he enjoys going to school.
Good. And then maybe Caden might be in pre-K?
He is not. There wasn't any room for the Head Starts in the area where his district is, but the daycare he does go to has a pre-K or has a preschool program that he attends. And I know Miss Randall was able to attend his Christmas program last week that he had.
Good. Okay, Miss Fouts, any concerns with the children?
No, not at all. Doing well.
All right. Mr. Shaw, any concerns on behalf of Mr. Alvarado?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Randall, can you unmute yourself for me?
I didn't know that I was muted. I apologize.
It's okay. Do you have any concerns regarding the children?
Other than Lucas lost his glasses, he had them for I think a week after he had them. I brought up because the first time I met the foster parents was the other night at Caden's Christmas program, and I had brought up that he hadn't been wearing his glasses, and they said that they didn't even realize that he lost them. Caden has been wearing either sandals, like he had sandals on in the rain the other day, or swim shoes, like the shoes that you wear when you go swimming. I've told Lupe, the lady, she's seen this also, that supervises our visits about this. I took him shoes that fit him, but they're still continuing to put him in swim shoes or sandals.
Miss Ellen?
I was not aware that his glasses had been lost. I will follow up with foster mom about that, because if they're lost, we should be able to replace them, and that shouldn't be an issue to get new glasses. I know me and Miss Randall both have seen him having issues keeping them on his face, because when he first got it, so that he could have just misplaced them somewhere, but it should have been noticed that he didn't have them anymore. Yeah. And the shoes, I have brought that up to the attention of the foster home. I know when my conversations with Caden, the shoes that he wears is because he chose to wear those shoes. And I think it might be a battle that it's not willing to fight, because he makes those choices to wear the sandals and the water shoes. His sandals are Paw Patrol shoes, which is his favorite. So we've also had some issues where he likes to wear, he has one Sonic outfit that is short sleeve and shorts, and I don't care how cold it is, that's what he wants to wear. So
I've seen that foster home. I've seen their room. I've seen their closet. They have plenty of clothes, plenty of appropriate shoes. So I would agree. It's probably just pick your battle kind of an issue.
Okay.
All right.
And then as far as Dakota, is there any way they can take her to maybe an ear, nose, and throat doctor? Her nose is constantly running. It's like every 5 minutes you're having to wipe the snot that's running from her nose.
I know it's been discussed with the with her pediatrician. Her foster dad is also a doctor and monitors it, but we can do a referral for a referral to ENT if we need to.
Okay.
Maybe some allergy medicine or something.
Something. She did do breathing treatments before they were removed, and that seems to help a little bit.
Okay. I'm seeing them today, so I will follow up on that too with the foster mom.
Okay. And then it's not a medical question or anything. Lucas has been telling me that he has a performance at school, but I don't know about that one yet.
I have verified with foster mom, with Miss Covington, and she said he does not. The only thing he has this week is a Christmas party on Friday morning, but there is no program right now.
Okay. Could I attend the Christmas party?
Yes. I will double check with the school to make sure it's okay. I don't have an issue with it.
Okay. Because I think he had a Thanksgiving program. I wasn't notified about it.
And I wasn't aware of it either.
And he's upset that I made Caden's and not his. So
they would like for her to be there.
Yeah.
I would too.
Okay, so then really quickly, I just want to make sure that Margaret heard that. The judge said, so she hasn't lost any rights. You don't need to check with the school. Like, she has the right to attend school activities. So Margaret, I need you to not check with the school. You heard the judge say it was okay, and that we can't say that the kids want her there. So I'm expecting my client to be able to attend that. Okay? Margaret?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Miss Allen, tell me about Miss Randall's progress and services. The report looked very good.
Yes, overall, Miss Randall is doing well. She completed inpatient treatment program, and she's been doing intensive outpatient treatment program. She continues to participate in individual therapy with Holly Waddell and also group therapy. She is employed at IHOP and she has provided verification. Her drug tests have been negative. Her last hair strand was negative. Her last UA was negative as well. Our biggest concern right now is not knowing where she is living and who she is living with. She did leave her previous relationship that we had concerns with that situation, so that is a positive. But our next steps is to get her into housing, and we are assisting with Section 8 housing at this point.
Great. Ms. Murray?
And she also has a total of 4 hours of visits a week. She has 2 hours with all 4 children, and then individual 1 hour visits with different makeup of siblings, depending on who needs more time, or individual visits with one of the children if they're needing more attention from Ms. Randall.
Is Ms. Randall appropriate during visits?
Yes, they're going well. It is hard to divide the attentions between all 4 of them when they're all 4 together, which is why we added the visits with the individual, and that seems to have helped the children with their relationships not only with one another, but with Ms. Randall as well.
Good. All right, Ms. Murray, it sounds like a very positive report on your client this month.
Yes, Your
Anything to
Honor.
add?
The only thing I think is I was talking to Lauren and she said that nobody from St. Francis has actually, I guess, given her the documentation for the Section 8. So she said that it's been promised to her or discussed with her, but she didn't know where that process was. So I just wanted to make sure that if my client needs to fill out any paperwork or go to any offices, she's more than willing to do that.
Ms. Allen, what's the status of that paperwork?
We have everything on our end completed. I know I had reached out to Ms. Randall regarding some, what was it? Some initial or original information that we need that she was working on getting. So hopefully earlier in the next week or so, we can get all that submitted so they have everything that they need.
Okay. Ms. Randall, I'm proud of you. That's a very good report.
Thank you. I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have that. I did get all the birth certificates and social security cards, so I do have that for that. My counselor and we've discussed unsupervised visits. How would that go? And what does it look like from here on out?
I have spoken to your therapist last week, and she hasn't given me a verbal or a written communication regarding unsupervised visits. And right now, until we can confirm where and who you are living with, we're not comfortable in starting unsupervised visits.
Okay.
And may I judge?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I understand if the department is only concerned about who she's living with or where she's living, why couldn't we start community visits or visits at Chick-fil-A or somewhere in public so that my client could start getting that contact and have additional time with the children?
I'm going to wait on the therapist's recommendations, but certainly, Ms. Murray, if we don't have a recommendation from the therapist in the next couple of months, let me know if we need a hearing on it.
Told me she sent you an email.
I have not received anything from her regarding therapeutic recommendations for unsupervised visitation.
Okay.
All right. Tell me about Mr. Alvarado's progress.
At this point, my contact with him has been very limited. I have not heard anything from him. His dad continues to have visits with the children once a week for 1 hour. And that's the main contact that we have through him. And those visits overall are going well. He has missed a few visits just because of his work schedule, but he notifies us in plenty of time prior to those visits when he needs to cancel the visit.
Okay. Mr. Shaw, anything to add on behalf of Mr. Alvarado?
No, Judge. They've moved him from Abilene to Tulia. I don't know why. I couldn't see as far as an advantage for him to be in one and the other. And he did not make his parole on his mandatory review. So it shows that he doesn't have another review until August of next year.
Okay. Mr. Mitchell, I believe that I sent an order dismissing Mr. Alvarado as to the child, Delilah. Have we pled in an unknown father or any additional fathers with respect to Delilah?
I don't think we have, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Randall, are there any other fellows that you can name as a possible father for Delilah?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Shaw,
I have provided an affidavit of an inability to locate an unknown father as well, and that's been e-filed.
Okay. Mr. Shaw, I'm going to appoint you to the unknown father as well as soon as they get him served by publication.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to set this for a permanency and a final hearing April the 18th at 9 a.m. Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, very good. We'll be adjourned. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office, appearing on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department appears today by and through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Cody Gardner and Supervisor Todd Cogdill, present and ready to proceed.
Sarah Hudman, attorney for the parents.
Linda Ebley, attorney and guardian ad litem, child.
All right, tell me about Dej. We're with the Robles family, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Those are her maternal grandparents. She's living with them currently as of October 3rd. November 3rd. She's doing very well there. I just talked to them a few days ago, and they've been having a lot of fun with her living in the house with them. They're glad to have their granddaughter back with them. I mean, of course, they're spoiling her a little bit because they're grandparents, and that's what they do. But
Yep.
she's being healthy there, and she's thriving there, I would say, actually.
All right,
She has
any sort of
health
medical
issues. She had a little bit of
concerns?
a low-grade fever last week, but they took some Tylenol and it cleared up. She didn't even end up needing to go to the doctor for it.
Okay, does she seem to be on target?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. What does she like to do?
Local permanency specialist last week, and that he said that from what he's seen and from what he's read through her files and what I've read through her files, that she's on developmental track, just really doing really well. She's as sharp as a whip, really.
Okay, great. What does she like?
She likes girly things, princess stuff. She likes her cartoons, likes Disney princesses, of course. A little bit of My Little Pony thrown in there. She really likes the color pink.
Okay. All right, very good. And do we have an approved home study on the grandparents?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Miss Eveline, any concerns with Dej? Am I saying it right?
concerns, Your Honor.
Dej. Dej, okay. All right, Ms. Hudman,
Yes, sir.
any concerns on behalf of your clients regarding Dej?
No, not regarding the child. They're
All
very
right.
happy with the placement.
Great. Mr. Mitchell, what is the status of service on Mr. Sims?
Your Honor, I show we had personal service on him on September the 13th.
Okay. All right, tell me how the parents are doing in services.
They both have started most of their services. There's still a couple that we're trying to get started for them. We had a couple of our providers say that they couldn't take on new clients at this time, so I'm trying to find a replacement for those. Waiting to hear back from Holly Waddell for Mrs. Salinas, so we can get her in to go in there for individual counseling. They've had negative drug tests so far. They're actually doing really well right now. They both have jobs. They have secure homes, their own transportation. They're looking really good at this moment. They just got to finish up their services now.
Ms. Hudman?
My clients have been hitting it out of the park. They've I believe they've completed parenting. If not, they've got to be very close because they've sent me a whole bunch of parenting certificates. My concern is that the things that have happened that are beyond my client's control are keeping them from their child. Veronica Salinas in particular has been the primary caregiver of this child. And I don't want lack of providers to delay reunification.
Absolutely.
And I think that she has shown with her visits, because she'll go down there to Midland. I think that we need to be on the path towards unsupervised visits and extended visits. And I'm also requesting an extended visit for Christmas. She's just that they've not shown any problems. I think that they have done really, really good. And they've done everything they could do. And so that's what I'm asking.
Mr. Gardner, have you been to the home?
Yes, ma'am. Her phone is really nice. Keeps it really well kept. Everything's cleaned up out of the floor. No obstacles. Everything's running. Good hot water. Plenty of food. Electrical has always been on.
All right, we're here for a permanency hearing. Tell me why we can't place this child back with her today.
Just waiting on her to finish up her, so we can get her. Finish up with her individual counseling. She's been going to the parenting council classes, and she's actually gone past what she was supposed to on that because she's been finding it so interesting. She's doing really well. Just wanting her to finish up with her individual counseling and make sure she's staying drug free.
Okay, you understand this, the statute says that I must place this child back in her home unless you can articulate to me today why it's not safe to do so. And that's not what you're saying at all. So, Mr. Mitchell?
Well, Your Honor, I have to rely on what Mr. Gardner's having to say, and I really think it's great that the mother's doing a good job. On behalf of the department, we'd ask that just continue this time to do the services and that we explore some extended visits over Christmas as has been requested, but that we continue with placement where it is.
And Judge, I would argue that that's not an argument saying that there's anything unsafe. And I do object to the permanency report about the continuing danger statement. I think that is a blanket statement that is thrown in there that doesn't really have anything to do with my client.
Yep. Mr. Gardner, I'm going to maybe put you in a breakout room with Ms. Hudman and let's work out a reunification calendar, and I'll stick Ms. Ebeling in there as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, let me do the next hearing first, and then y'all can just hang out for a little bit and talk about that reunification calendar with me not here. So y'all hang out for just a second. I will set the next permanency and final hearing for April the 11th at 9 on this case, however. But y'all hang out for just a minute and let me do this other hearing, and then I'll let y'all visit about a reunification calendar. Certainly, Ms. Hudman, if you're not happy with their plan for a reunification calendar, let me know. I'll step back in and we'll talk about it. The parties identified?
Gary Mitchell with the Lubbock County District Attorney's Office on behalf of the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. The department appears as well through St. Francis Ministries caseworker Christy Sines and Supervisor Rhonda Slay, present and ready to proceed.
Madam Barr, attorney for the respondent mother. I'm present with my client in the virtual courtroom.
Greg Johnson, attorney for the father, present, ready, Your Honor.
Katie Mason, attorney and guardian for the child, present.
Tell me about Braden. It looks like we just placed Braden with a grandmother in November. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. We placed him on November the 1st with both paternal grandparents here in Lubbock, Texas. That was after we had an approved home study as well as a kinship safety eval. And then Ms. Mason had also visited the home and visited with the grandparents. And so we moved to place, and the official date was November the 1st.
Okay, very good. How is Braden doing in that home?
He is doing well. He's 5 months old and he's meeting developmental milestones. We don't have any concerns with that or any needs to recommend an ECI referral. He does have a couple of medical diagnoses. He's diagnosed with history of exposure to methamphetamine in utero and then acute infantile eczema. The placement has been really good at using over-the-counter remedies to help with the eczema, and it has cleared up quite a bit. And she's also really diligent about ensuring that there's clean blankets and clean clothing for him at the daycare. And so his skin has really cleared up a lot. And then other than that, he has had just some sicknesses, some congestion. The doctor reported to the previous foster parent that it was because of the exposure to methamphetamine. He kind of stays congested a little longer, but that it's not a concern at this point.
Okay. Does he seem to be on target as far as we know, or are we getting some ECI help?
No, he is actually on target. He's cooing, he's laughing, babbling. He's doing everything that a typical 5-month-old would do. And so right now we don't have any needs to get a referral.
Beautiful. Ms. Mason, any concerns with Braden?
No, Your Honor, none whatsoever. He's super happy, healthy looking. I almost didn't even recognize him because how much he's grown since even the last time I saw him. So he's doing extremely well.
Very good. Ms. Suarez, can you unmute yourself? Tell me if you have any sort of concerns.
No, I don't have any concerns at this point. I think everything is going pretty well. And his skin has cleared up quite a bit. I think he just has really sensitive skin. Like I've noticed, we were at the mall, and if we go into like a store that has like a lot of perfumes and stuff, that irritates his skin. And so he'll start, his skin will start to get red. But other than that, no, I don't have any concerns.
All right, very good. Mr. Ceballos, can you unmute yourself for me?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any concerns regarding Braden?
No, ma'am.
All right. Okay, another really good report on the parents this time. Tell me how these parents are doing in services.
Yes, Your Honor. Mary Ann, she has been staying in contact with me. Even when she had to change numbers, she was very quick to make sure that I had the updated contact information. She has been doing services outlined on the family plan. She continues in the same home with Mr. Ceballos. She has been working for several months now at a local hotel, and she has been providing those pay stubs. She is ordered to pay child support in the amount of $50 and medical support in the amount of $50. She says she has been mailing in her payments. I tried to get confirmation of that, but hadn't gotten it yet. And then she hasn't had any criminal history or police involvement. She did complete her parenting classes through the Parenting Cottage. She completed the 8 hours. I just need to get a copy of her certificate. She did complete her psychological evaluation. There are some recommendations that came out of that psychological that include addressing her mental health because it talked about ongoing struggles with sadness. And then it also recommended doing couples family therapy. And then due to the history of methamphetamine abuse, it was recommended that she participate in consistently in treatment. And then once she completed that to be in a support group such as AANA. On her individual counseling with Dr. Wilbanks, she's actually completed 2 sessions. There were some recommendations out of the progress report from Dr. Wilbanks, which did discuss that Mary Ann has been minimizing her drug use and that she needs to learn from the services, not just complete them, but actually learn how that addresses substance abuse, and that she needs to demonstrate over an extended period of time that she can remain drug-free before her case can move forward. It was also important, she noted it was important to have no domestic violence in the relationship and that she should demonstrate stability on her own, free from relying on Mr. Ceballos or a partner. She hasn't started addressing the family violence through counseling yet. They've only done those 2 sessions. And then she will address her mental health through her physician. Mary Ann reported to me that she was going to have a doctor's appointment to discuss this with her physician in November, but I do not know the results of that conversation. And then she's to maintain a drug-free lifestyle. In July, she had the hair strand test positive. That was the beginning of the case. The levels were 14,944, and then her UA was negative. On August the 11th, her UA was negative. September 25th, her UA was negative. October, we did not request drug testing. And then November the 1st, her hair follicle was positive for methamphetamines with a level of 1,654. The UA was negative. Ms. Suarez agrees to participate in AANA, and she has been doing that and has shown me sign-in sheets. She also did get a sponsor so that she could contact if she's struggling or needs to reach out to somebody. She was to complete her drug and alcohol assessment, which she finally did on October the 19th, and it was recommended that she do outpatient services through STAR Parent Padre program. Today, right before court, she sent me a certificate that she had completed that program and did 8 hours of outpatient services. And then she's to participate in parent-child visits, which she has been participating in. We've had a weekly supervised visit for 2 hours through St. Francis. And then she was given a 2-hour visit that was supervised by the paternal grandparents while Braden was placed in the foster home. And then Braden was moved over to the paternal grandparents, And then Miss Mason recommended we increase visitation, so we added an additional 2 hours. So total every week there's a 6 hours. There was 4 hours and then now it's 6 hours of visitation.
Okay, very good. Mr. Morrow, anything to add on behalf of your client regarding services?
Well, just to kind of not really add, but to emphasize everything she has been doing. And I'm very, like I said, I went over her progress with her yesterday on the phone. We're seeing a very good trajectory of what she's doing. I especially want to draw the court's attention to those hair follicle levels and how dramatically those have dropped over the last few months and their continued negatives on the UA. I believe this case is moving in a positive direction, and I'm hopeful for reunification based upon her efforts and her continued use. She talked about how she's motivated to stay in therapy and continue to address the issues for the reason why she's brought to the department's by the children brought into care. And so that's what we're all I want to emphasize with the court here this afternoon.
Okay, very good. Tell me about Mr. Ceballos.
Okay, Mr. Ceballos is to maintain contact with St. Francis, and he has been compliant with this task. He's to participate in the services outlined on the family plan of service, and he's complying with that as well. He's to maintain safe and stable housing, and he and Miss Marianne have continued in the same house throughout this case. He will maintain legal employment. During this case, there's been multiple job changes. He has not provided proof of income, but states that he does not get paid through a pay stub, so I haven't been able to verify the employment. The last report was that he was going to be opening up a body shop, and so he didn't have any type of financials to report to show that he's got income at this moment. He'll pay child support in the amount of $50 and medical support in the amount of $50. He also reported that he's been mailing those in, but again, I wasn't able to verify what that payment record has looked like since September. And then he will refrain from criminal activity, which he has been compliant with this task. He is to complete parenting classes through Fatherhood Fire. I did receive confirmation that he has completed those parenting classes. And then he was to complete a psychological evaluation. He did do that, and there were recommendations out of the psychological, which included a psychiatric consultation. During his individual counseling with Mr. Gatlin, he told Mr. Gatlin that the doctor prescribed him an antidepressant, but that he did not get the prescription filled because he did not feel he was depressed. Because of his previous history of substance abuse, in the psychological, it recommended ongoing participation in substance abuse treatment and following the program to continue in support groups such as AANA. And then for his counseling, he has been attending counseling with Mr. Gatlin. He did miss his session on December the 1st, but has attended 5 sessions prior to that. He is to address family violence through counseling with Mr. Gatlin. They have not started to address that yet. And then he is to maintain a drug-free lifestyle and submit to random drug testing. In July of 2023, his hair strand was positive for methamphetamines. The level was 69,382. He was positive for amphetamine, the level 3,175, and positive for marijuana metabolite, the level 0.04. On August the 11th, his UA was negative. September 25th, UA negative. October, none was requested. November the 1st, his hair follicle was positive for methamphetamine, the level 5,390, and his UA was negative. He agrees to participate in AANA. He needs to provide a sign-in sheet for that. I was only able to see the sign-in sheet one time. And then he's to submit to a drug and alcohol assessment. He did complete that on September the 6th, and he was also recommended to do outpatient services. And then with the outpatient, he also sent a certificate today saying that he completed the Star Cares SUD outpatient treatment program. And then in regards to the parent-child visits, it's the same as Miss Suarez. He has the 2 hours supervised by St. Francis. He has missed just a couple of visits due to work schedule. And then he gets the 2 hours supervised by his parents, and then the additional 2 hours that we started at Thanksgiving.
Mr. Johnston, anything to add on behalf of your client?
Yeah, Claudio's been doing an outstanding job. I mean, he's fully engaged, fully participating in all of his services. The issue with the drugs, he's done just phenomenally with. His levels have gone down from 69,000 in July, all clean UAs, and down to 5,000 in November. Would like to start looking towards maybe getting some unsupervised visits. I know both parents are fully engaged, doing all the things they need to. Just I know we're with the paternal grandparents now, but if maybe we could start doing some unsupervised visits, I know the parents are anxious to continue moving forward with this process.
I would like to hear some therapist recommendations regarding the domestic violence issues first. And I would also like to see some clean hair strands first before we move to any unsupervised visits. But I definitely think we're headed in the right direction. And it sounds like we're headed towards reunification. If we continue with the levels going down, we continue in therapy the way we are, it sounds like we still have some additional issues that need to be looked at. Okay, I'm going to set this for another permanency and a final hearing, April the 18th at 9. All right, thank y'all. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mhm.